Welcome back. Now, the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology will host a public entities engagement for public sector communicators, as well as an information sharing session in Opuwo in the Kunene Region, themed at improving service delivery in the public sector through communication. Now, joining us to share more on this is MICT Senior Public Relations Officer, Shoki Kanjimi. Good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, Erica, and good evening to your viewers. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. Perhaps before we dwell that is deeper into this interview, just talk to us about this information sharing session that is happening in Opuwo, as mentioned earlier. When exactly is it going to take place, and who is invited that is to attend this session?
Oh, thank you very much. Erica, like many people say, information is power.
Absolutely.
And as the ministry responsible for information dissemination and management in government, we deemed it very necessary to really come up with an information sharing session where basically we gather public relations officers from central government, local authorities, and also public enterprises to come and display their products and services, take services closer to the people so that they really appreciate the work government does and the services that government has to offer. So that's why we'll be having that information sharing at OK in Opuwo on Wednesday, that's the 19th of this month, and it's open to the public, and we invite the public to come and participate. The Minister of Information, Honorable Emma Tiefeles, will also be there and officiate this very important session.
All right. Now, perhaps just talk to us about the specific strategies that the ministry is looking at, that is when it comes to implementing or enhancing communication within the public sector.
Very well. We launched the government communications strategy in 2022, a very, very important strategy to just lead us in terms of how government communicators ought to communicate and be proactive in terms of providing information to our people. So this is really a platform for us to really track and see where we stand and so forth. So this is basically the strategy that guides us at the moment.
All right. Now, Shoki, what role does technology actually play in modernizing public sector communication as well as service delivery that the ministry actually uses?
I think we are reminded of the importance of how technology played through COVID-19. I always make reference to that because that's when people realize how technology was so important. And it's also similar to the disciplines of communications, public relations, marketing, you name it, basically where we have to adapt to some of these latest technology, such as social media, for instance, video production, to ensure that we really carry out different key messages to our people in terms of just informing them of perhaps projects, programs, and initiatives that the government is spearheading and that they can also benefit. For instance, maybe if there are projects in different constituencies that people can benefit from through their SMEs that they have and the government is trying to assist them. This is where we communicate these projects to the community to come take up these important opportunities and make use of them to better their livelihoods, basically.
All right. Now, how does the ministry ensure that communication practices actually align with the needs and, of course, expectations for citizens living, that is, in the area of Opuwo?
Yes. So that's why we really constantly, on a quarterly basis, gather these public relations communication officers from government offices, ministries, and agencies, including regional councils, local authorities. And this time around, we've also included public enterprises, because this is one thing that we have noticed, that yes, government communicators can communicate, but also we do have public enterprises of which government owns. So government needs to also invite them to ensure that really we carry out these messages consistently, and the information is actually, there's some sort of synergy in our information that we send out. So that's why we took it to Opuwo, because we feel we have not really reached that area that much. So we decided, why not go to the great Kunene region to go see how we can really go give the different information to our people that are based in that area.
All right. Now, will this information sharing session only be happening, that is, in Opuwo, or do we see it going into other regions as well? And when will that take place, if need be?
So the minister is quite very passionate about access to information. As you know, we are the custodians of the Access to Information Act currently before it becomes effective when a body is created to then become independent and they take over the responsibility. So the minister is really passionate about really ensuring that we provide access to our people. And this is through an information sharing platform. So of course, we have had it in Commerce region, in Havana. We have had it in Ohangwena region. We have also had we are now taking it to Opuwo in the Kunene region. So meaning we don't want anyone to be left out, basically, out of this. We want to take it to as many parts as in the country as we can. So Opuwo is now the latest edition, and we really want, and this time around we've included public enterprises as opposed to the previous ones. So it's going to be something quite very big, and I think Opuwo will be center of activities this coming Wednesday.
All right. Now, Shoki, just perhaps talk to us about key challenges that you've picked up, having had these sessions before, that the public actually faces when it comes to effective disseminating of information to the public. What has the ministry actually picked up during the previous information sharing sessions?
You know, we always advocate for proactive dissemination of information. We don't always have to wait for the media to come and approach us as communicators of government to provide information, but you must be there to consistently provide this information to our people. So this was some of the few challenges that we picked up, and that's also why we are enacting a law of access to information, because it will compel everyone, every institution, be it public or private, to provide information to our people. So these were some of the challenges. That's why we came up with a communication strategy before we get to the Access to Information Act, to really prepare our people, to capacitate them, to give them the necessary tools also that will enable them to communicate effectively.
All right. Now, can you perhaps just provide us with a typical example of successful communication campaigns that have positively impacted that service delivery in the country?
So there are quite a lot. There are quite a lot in terms of, you know, the introduction of e-government. When you look at it today, after we have communicated the importance of digitalization, especially from my ministry, you have seen how other government agencies, offices and ministries are really taking up this initiative. Looking at the Ministry of Home Affairs now has a passport where you can basically apply for a passport online, for instance, you understand. Looking at the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises, they've also digitalized the procurement process. So you can really see some of these things are working and it's in terms of us communicating consistently that we need to be a digital government by the year 2023.
Right. Now, Shoki, what measures would you tell us, or rather talk to us about, that are in place that the ministry actually uses to ensure that transparency as well as accountability in public sector communication initiatives are actually being used?
So this very same platform that will happen after the information sharing is now a one dedicated to government communicators. Basically, this is where we take stock in terms of what's working and what's not working. This is where we hold the government communicators accountable, because they are responsible to report what they have done for the last quarter and to tell us what challenges were they faced. Is there a need for us to escalate some of their issues to a ED's level or to a cabinet level, so that really it becomes a cabinet decision that will compel some of our principals to ensure that maybe, for instance, when government communicators do not have the necessary tools, that they are empowered with these tools. So this is where we hold them accountable. And then, of course, if you are held accountable, then later onwards you will try to improve and so forth. What we have also done, Erica, I must tell you, is that we have introduced what we call Government Communicators Awards at the end of the year. These awards are just not something that we created just for the sake of just awarding, but also just to encourage them to be more proactive, to be more transparent, so that our public can really enjoy the information that we have to offer to them, and to just encourage them to work harder, be innovative. You know, this is also where the innovation is coming out of. So some of these initiatives are really compelling us. And also, again, I make reference to the Access to Information Act. This is one that will compel you. And the word compel is very strong, I must tell you, because you can easily be fined, or you can even even serve time in prison if you fail to provide information as per the as per the Access to Information Act of 2022.
Right. Now, when information comes from the ministry and goes out to the public, how does the ministry actually leverage feedback given back from citizens and stakeholders to actually continue improving, that is, communication strategies?
Well, the Office of the Prime Minister is championing quite a good system, which they call the communications system. This is where really on every government website, you would find there is a feedback tool. This is where the public is basically invited to come through and ask questions, to report an incident where service delivery was an issue or so. This is where really you get to hear what the public thinks about how we deliver services in our different offices, ministries, agencies, local authorities, and regional councils, just to mention a few. So this is really a tool to keep us also on our toes to ensure that we do our work, and we really encourage the public to make use of this. Yes, the old school is still there, Erica. I must tell you, this is the feedback boxes at every government institution. Of course, government institutions are also being awarded for having best customer service elements or strategies in place. Of course, very soon we will be having the Africa Public Service Day. This is where you will see which ministries are indeed adhering to what we call good customer service charters, and you name them.
All right. Now, are there any training opportunities or resources that are available for the public sector to actually communicate and enhance? I know that you did mention that is the feedback tool, but maybe just talk to us about any other training opportunities that are put in place by the ministry that is to enhance skills as well as capabilities of feedback being shared.
Yeah, so on the program of this coming week's training, basically, it will focus on things such as crisis management. How do we manage a crisis when it occurs? Crises are something that we cannot avoid. They happen. So this is how you are going to be taught how to better prepare for a crisis. Effective communications writing. Writing is one thing that changes all the time. In terms, we look at things like how to keep your messaging brief and straight to the point. Nowadays, I don't want to read long stuff on social media about what we are doing. Tell me the basic 5 W's and H so that I know what you mean and what you're doing, so that I can go and grab that opportunity if that is an opportunity being mentioned in that post and so forth. So we really need to keep up with the trends within the communication space, and that's why we are going to speak about that. Also, what's important is that we are working on the nation's brand, and that's why you can see I'm branded in the My Namibia, My Country, My Pride blazer. This is where we are trying to promote a national brand, and we'll have conversations around that, because as government communicators we are responsible to champion that, because when you're outside of our borders, people and someone sees you wear something like your Ease flags with the Namibian flag shoes, they should recognize and say, oh, you're from this land of the brave. These are some of the things that we really want to capacitate our practitioners, and to really just be proactive and innovative rather in the work that they do on a daily basis.
All right. Now, Shoki, any other expected outcomes from this information sharing that the ministry is actually looking forward to? No,
it's just collaboration. I mentioned to you we are now for the second time hosting public enterprises as well. Public enterprises also get an opportunity to share their best practices. I think that is one thing that we are looking forward to hear from them, because they speak of corporate communications and all that. So we want to hear from their side, how can they also assist us who are in central government and in improving in the way we communicate with our people.
All right. Anything else that you perhaps just left out or would like to send out that is to the entire public in Opuwo regarding this information sharing?
No, it's just to really encourage the inhabitants of the Kunene region and those that are finding themselves in Opuwo in particular to really come out in numbers to come and see what government has to offer. We'll be having even Home Affairs Day. If you do not have an ID, to go and get your ID, the latest one that you can even use to cross a border to Botswana, or even now that we are busy with the registration of voters' cards, we are going to have all these services on the ground for you, closer to you. So we really want to urge them come Wednesday to come as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. We will be there. The minister will also be there to also answer any questions from central government as a government spokesperson. Really, all these public enterprises, government communicators will be really there to bring services closer to our people. So it's just an invitation to them and to just say thank you for this platform. And we really, really look forward to seeing people come out in numbers.
Well, Shoki, thank you so much for making time for us here in Daily Roundup.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, that was MICT Senior Public Relations Officer Shoki Kanjimi right there, just talking to us about the public entities engagement for public sector communicators, as well as the information sharing session that will be taking place in Opuwo in the Kunene region, that is on Wednesday. Do stay tuned. This is the Daily Roundup.